Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. This is your boy Turgon the Wise coming at you with a new video today. And this is the first video that I will be doing of my 12th season playing Lord of the Rings Rise to War. Now, in this video, I'm going to talk about some of the things that were different starting this season, particularly with the 24-hour buffs and how that has impacted the ability to farm, and what this means long term. And we'll also talk a little bit about getting ready for 2.0. So, the first 24-hour buffs that we're used to having were reduced um, dead, reduced unit like wounded, stamina cost used to be reduced, healing time. There was a whole slew of buffs we used to get in the first 24 hours, and you don't get them no more. The only buffs that you get now are you get an increased 100 stamina, which really only is impactful for like the first 10 minutes of the season. Um, unless you're a player that only logs in twice a day. I mean, if you're a player that is online a lot, then it's not going to impact you. But if you're a player that logs in when the server starts, drains all your stamina on two or three commanders, and then doesn't log in again for like another 10 hours, then the extra stamina might be beneficial for you. Um, you don't get the reduced dead, you don't get the reduced wounded, you don't get the reduced healing time, any of that stuff. That's all gone. The only other thing that you get is I think it's like 90%. So like if your commander dies, uh, the amount of time it takes for him to be usable in combat again gets reduced by like 90%. Um, so you barely even feel it. You can like scout with Frodo, he dies, and then you can have him back again like 2 minutes later to be able to do something else. And then once the 24-hour buffs are gone, then that like 1 or 2 minute wait time becomes a 10-minute wait time, and it's really not all that impactful. To be honest, the 24-hour buffs just all in all are not impactful in any way. They don't really make any difference. So don't so if you're like about to start a season, to just be aware that this is what's go we are going to be dealing with here. I'm just going to reload one of my commanders here and maybe see if I can take a 200 while I'm chatting with you all here today. Let's see what I can pump into my Gilgalad here. Not quite there yet for the archers, but we can fill him. And then let's come over here. I'll just walk you through kind of like my process for taking a 200. I'm sure the majority of you folks who are watching this are already studs and are fully aware of how to take a 200 tile. But um, we'll just do this for kicks, just to have something for you to watch while I'm sitting here yakking. So we're going to go for this tile here. There's nothing left for me to farm, by the way, other than 200 plus tiles. Every single tile that is goes up to 150 um, has been taken, and that's fine. So this season I'm playing with a team called Rock. It's my friend Deanna's team. Um, Definitely a little bit different from Yadu, but I think we have a good, strong core and good teams. They've been doing an excellent job thus far. Let's come over to the production. So we're all kind of in the same class, although Gray is starting to pull ahead a little bit. Um, they have a little bit more room, quite honestly, I think, to farm out in this area, whereas we're kind of all scrunched together over here. And this will change soon. We'll be taking, I think, our first keep here today, and that will enable me at least to GTFO. I thought that they said that there was going to be a fellowship fortress over here, but I guess that's not really happening. And that is one of the big differences right away that I see. Like, Yadu would never call a keep siege without having a fellowship fortress set up first so that people can get there a little bit more quickly and efficiently, using less resources to get there and such. Um, but we are all just kind of expected to make our own way out here. And as you can see, I tried, but it's just too far, and I'm not going to make it. So, too bad. I'll do this one. I'll make it to this one. This is one that I'll do. But otherwise, and then maybe I'll send my commanders down, one or two of my commanders down here. See if I can start grabbing some of these tiles down here, because that would be beneficial, I think. So let's see. Let's kill some forts. Now, 2.0, today is Friday, the 3rd of November, 2023. And on Tuesday, we have the release of version 2.0. And that's going to spell a whole lot of changes for the game. And it's going to be interesting. I'm looking forward to it in some ways, and I'm dreading it in others. I think a lot of people in the community tend to be dreading it more than looking forward to it. So I'm not going to talk about the things that I dread, because they align with all the same reasons that I'm sure everyone already is dreading it. And mostly I've described this in a previous video, but the way that the change is being presented, I think could have been managed a little bit better. It feels like a breakup, where we're getting this version of the game, the 1.0 version of the game, this version of the game that is clearly quite flawed, that has lots of feedback recommendations, change recommendations being provided to the developers by the community. But yet, nonetheless, there are a large number of people who love this version of the game, and switching over to 2.0 is just like a break. It's like a breakup. People are go through these phases where they're like, first they're in denial, nah, it's not happening, it's not going to happen. And then once they get through the denial, they get angry, like, how could they do this to me? I love this game the way that it is. Why would they do this to us? This is stupid. And then they go from kind of like the angry phase to the sad phase, where they're like, oh man, I'm going to miss this so much. It's blah blah blah, all those same things that you go through when you go through a breakup, right? And then finally you get kind of to the acceptance phase, and you start looking forward to what you're going to do to adapt to your new life in 2.0. And I think that overall, now starting to understand some of the changes that they're going to be making, I think it's going to be fun. It will be different. It will be strange. It won't be exactly how it is today. But I think overall, there's a lot of opportunity now to get people involved in the game who haven't spent $250,000, $100,000, $50,000, $10,000 on the game. So getting new players involved in the game is a critical aspect of any platform. You need new users, because you're going to be, it's like any other organization. There are going to be players that are coming, and there's going to be players that are going. And if you just abandon the players that are coming, then you'll have a lot less players coming than going. And then your platform dies. So I think in some ways, what they're attempting to do really addresses that. All right, let's see what we got. What do we got here? Is it trolls? Oh, trolls. I killed two of them. Suck it. I'll take this. This is a good report here for a level 11 Frodo. Oh, it makes me laugh. Let's go. Let's take this shit on. And then we'll follow up with the Gilly Hammer. And this should be an easy take. And then after I'm done taking this thing, I'm going to send them to that other fort, see if I can clean up some, maybe I should try to get, oh no, more people are coming. They want to farm too. Get off my farm. These are my tiles. I hate people like that. But that's another thing that's really different. It's different in general when you have like some sort of a sister fellowship. Because there are people from the sister fellowship that are going to feel a certain way about the way that you do things, whereas when you're just kind of hoofing it on your own, um, I don't know. It's just weird when someone from a sister fellowship betrays you because you took a tile by their base instead of just messaging you and saying, "Hey, I wanted to take that tile. It was by my base. Can you drop it?" And they just betray you and take it, and that's a little strange and inappropriate and frustrating. But you know what? To each their own, my friends. All right, let's send. This is not going to be nearly enough, is it? No, we're going to need some sort of a tanky tank in front. Maybe take a couple of. That ought to be adequate. We'll send him down there. Looks like we were successful on taking the 200. Let's head up there and see how we did. Oh, yeah, we got it. Yeah, this is about as expected. Maybe took a little bit more losses than I like, but purely this is because of the tier 2 troop factor. I mean, Wardens are just not great tanks. They're kind of paper thin. The defense is low. The HP on all Elven units is low. So not unexpected. But this is okay. And then the Gilly came in and just obliterated the last of them and then took care. Wow, just all trolls. An all troll tile. Yuck. Blech. But we handled it, we managed it, and we got our stuff, and now we're moving forward. So life is good. Let's get these guys home just a touch quicker. Just a touch. So yeah, some things I'm looking forward to with 2.0. I'm looking forward to having the opportunity of draining some rep from some of my commanders and applying it to other commanders. Let's see. I'm probably going to drain the rep from my Treebeard because it's the only T3 com that I really don't expect I will be wanting to use, even though from a base stat perspective, he looks pretty strong. Uh, it's going to get me a little bit more rep draining him than it will be a tier 2 com. And by a little bit, I mean literally like 700 XP, like 700 rep. Um, but you know what? Every little bit counts. I'm hesitant to drain Gandalf because even though by the stats, he looks kind of on the lower side in 2.0, I think he's going to be a good support commander that I'll be able to use to help as a healer and stuff. So I don't want to drain his rep. What I'm probably going to do, I was thinking about draining Gimli and Theoden, but they actually look to be fairly strong in the new update by some standards. So I'm going to wait on them. I don't want to drain them. I want to see what happens with them. I'm going to sacrifice undoubtedly um, my Celeborn. Goodbye. No interest in using him. Haven't used him since season 3. And I'm going to drain probably my Aragorn too. And I'm going to take all that rep between Treebeard, Celeborn, and Aragorn, and I'm going to reroute it. First, I'm going to send some over to Dane because I'd like to see if I can get him up to rep 10 so he can immediately get the relic. And then I think who was going to be the other commander that I wanted to dump rep into? Ah, right. I can't show him because I'm in the campaign and you can't look at your evil commanders in a campaign. But I can come over here and show them to you, even though it's going to give me a nasty gram here. Cannot use opposing alignments commanders. Yeah, okay, I got it. But Witch King? I don't know. I got a feeling about Witch King in this update, guys. Like, I think he's going to be absolutely nasty. I mean, his base stats are insane. So I think that's going to be the three commanders I plan to focus in 2.0 are going to be Witch King, Gil-galad, and Dane. So right now I'm not using Dane for nothing because he's rep 7 and why bother? But I am going to start leveling him through tips. And eventually, once I get him a little bit higher and I get dwarves unlocked, I'll probably throw some gear on him and start using him to sweep. And I want to try to get him leveled a little bit. Ideally, I can have him at least like level 20 when 2.0 drops, so that, like I said, immediately upon logging in for 2.0, I can drain that rep from those commanders I referenced. I can apply it to Dane, get him to R10, get his relic, and then get nasty with him. I don't need to add any rep to Gil-galad. Now, make no mistake, there's a lot of opportunity for him to get more rep. And maybe it is a mistake. Maybe I should take all the rep that I'm going to drain from those commanders and stick it into one commander to try to jazz him up as much as possible. But if anyone knows me from playing the game as long as I've played the game, it's that I don't like to put all my eggs in one basket. I like to spread the love around. And so that's why I'm going to use this three-headed serpent of Gilly, Dane, and Witch King because they hit you in three different ways from three different angles. Gilly is not a damage dealing commander. He's a commander who is going to hurt you with elves and his army. And I think that's going to stay the same in 2.0. I think his damage is going to be higher in 2.0. The army damage will be higher, but I think his tankiness is going to diminish. It really all depends on how you choose to skill him. He does still have the evasion skill, but I don't know if I want to use that. We'll see. I will. It's like everything is going to be kind of like touch and go, feel it out, see what works best for him. So I will experiment. And then the same thing is going to happen for Dane. Now, for those of you who don't know, they just did recently, and let me go up to the tool because I think I have it saved as a bookmark in here. I'm going to go to my bookmark conversion tool. You can go to the conversion tool. Sorry for showing you this crap. This is really not something I should be showing in a video. I should have had this up and ready to go, but just spur the moment I decided to go through this. So now I'm going to go through and I'm going to go to, let's check out Gil-galad. They added what his new skills are going to be in the conversion tool like yesterday. We didn't have this information until very recently. So they changed. He's still going to have Icicle, which is going to still be really good, especially against damage dealing commanders. And they kind of took his sub skills and rolled it in here as part the level 5 and level 10 upgrades. And then you got Kingly Kin, which is um, the evasion, and you get some extra defense, and you can increase that evasion by a whole whopping 10% up to 70% by boosting it to level 10. I don't know if the juice is really worth the squeeze because 5 levels is 15 skill points. That's a lot of skill points for 10%, just saying. And then Alliance Leader, this has replaced White Council, but basically each time damage is dealt, the next instance of damage dealt by the commander's formation is 20%. That's pretty nasty. Effect is modified by the unit's attack stat. The next instance of damage taken by the commander. So this looks really strong. So I would be more apt to put my points into this and then High King as well. You get more attack to the elves. The first 5 rounds attack and defensive elves units in 3 allied formations. So this is going to be a buff that really increases all the other elf allies you have. So if you've got Elrond and you've got Gil-galad in the same army, then I think that what this means is it's going to affect, you know, 3 allied formations. We'll have to experiment with this to see. I don't know for sure. Or if you think you know, leave a comment below. And then here is his unique. And as you may or may not be aware, this will no longer be taking up his weapon slot. It will be in a relic slot. So you can have this and Elven White Knife. And I will. So that's going to be what I'm looking to do with him. Now, with Dane, a lot of his stuff looks exactly the same. So I don't know exactly. I've never used Dane, so I'll be experimenting with him, but it should be, fairly common sense how you're going to use him. So this looks like it's more of an army buff. This is going to really jack up his damage. Steals 3 enemy formations. Addition to physical damage dealt by the commander ignores 10% of the target's defense for a round. The next one instance of damage is plus 10%. So I'm guessing this basically moves this up from 160 to 170. Again, I don't know if 10% is worth 15 skill points. You're going to have to feel it out. But again, for his relic, I can get it right away. I can stick it in his relic slot, as long as he's level 20, of course, based upon the information we have from the patch notes and all the announcements and stuff. And then stick another helmet on him, like this one. And you're like, well, wait, that has Aegis on it. Well, here's the thing. This is part of my grand genius plan. Not really. There's probably a million people that are thinking the same thing as me. You can use this. And once 2.0 launches, you can't get this gear anymore. The old gear with these traits and stuff, bye-bye. So it won't be max, but it'll be 4-star refined, and I think that's good enough. So what I will do is break this, and I also want this to break it. So 2 for 1. Buy one, get one free. So I'll keep this hat because I think it's going to be useful, and convert the Aegis into determination and throw this helmet on Dane. And I think it will be good. So that's just a couple of my plans, how I'm thinking and feeling about the update. Some stuff, in my current season. It's a pretty chill season. As you can see, everyone pretty much gets off to a slower start now with these new buffs. So, like, this guy just reached 20,000 production, and we started this season on Tuesday, and it's now Friday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So we're on day 3, and he just hit 20,000. With the old buff, some people, like the big super overactive Kraken players, were hitting 20,000 the first day. So you can see very clearly that the ability to farm early season is not there. So if you're about to start a season, you can't compare your team's farm in the new season with your previous seasons. Because, yeah, some teams had this level of production at the end of day 1. You can't do it anymore. So don't cry when you can't, because it's just not possible. And that's just part of the new reality of the game we have to learn to live with. And you got to look at it as a positive, right? Because we want to stretch these seasons out. We want the seasons, a lot of seasons feel like they're basically just determined by like day 20, and seasons are like 55 days, and then you just sit around bored for the next month waiting for your next season so you can do that marathon sprint again. And honestly, I think a lot of people will agree it's just boring as all hell to play this way. And there are other components to it, like these teams that think it's cool to gang up and come into a season with like 500 players allied to dominate a server. What a load of crap. I don't have enough for this, but we'll get there. He'll get there. Let's just, for right now, put him back at this, and we'll send Gandalf down there. So, like, they took United Faction out of the game for a reason, folks, and it's because you're not supposed to be allying with 500 players. Like, you're not supposed to have a 500 player alliance anymore. You're you're breaking the game by doing that. If you're a team that's out there playing for second place, you don't have a chance to win, so you're just going to work with the next best team to kind of block the top team from winning. Like, I don't know. I just don't think it's good for the game to do stuff like that. You know? Wouldn't you agree? Um so like it's supposed to be more dynamic, you know? Like they took United Factions out, they've limited the number of players in a faction. It's supposed to be everyone versus themselves. And I think, having some friends is normal and natural, but to like ally half of a server against a specific team that you know is there because you know they're strong, you know their leadership and you just don't like them, whatever the situation may be, it's just not great for the game. Like go somewhere else, play on a different server, or play the game the way it's intended to be so that the entire server can have a positive experience. Because it's just boring. Like when you join a server and the whole server is just out to get you. It's not a good experience. It's not a good experience for the people who win because the people who lose just don't want to give you PvP because they're angry at you for basically cheating and ganging up on them. And it's not good for the winners because you don't have anything to do because you win too fast because you broke the game. So think about your choices before you make them and think about the consequences of your choices before you make them. That's my advice to leaders across the platform. Um, if you want to have a fun season, then don't just be in it to win it and do whatever it takes to win. If you're going to do whatever it takes to win, use the cards that you're dealt. Use your team to get there. Don't be asking people to play for second or third place because it's not cool. Anyway, those are some of my thoughts. I hope that you find this information, this video, to be somewhat interesting and insightful. I'm looking forward to this season. I'm looking forward to 2.0, and I'm looking forward to hearing your thoughts and feedback on it all. Thanks so much for taking the time to watch this, and I hope the rest of your day treats you well. Take care.